on vinyl and vision.
Hey folks, thank you for tuning into the latest episode of Vinyl and Vision. Happy New Year. I know it's a little late, but it's new to me. I have been on break for all of December. I kind of just decided it was time to take some time off and disappear for a little bit. Regroup, rethink, and resolve, I guess. So as much as I don't like resolutions in the new year, I had made some kind of. I have a resolve to come back in the new year stronger, more clear, and more focused to bring more shows and bring you more episodes on a more regular basis. So, with that being said, Matt Trapp is my guest. He is just a great human being, super funny, super great hang. We fucking lost it. I lost it, I'll admit. Kind of got a little too loose that evening speaking with him, and that might shine through a little bit if you listen. But he's just a really fun, great guy, and he's in a great band. He's been in great bands. Currently, he's been in Songbirds. So we'll provide links to their Bandcamp. You can pick up their latest 7-inch release, which is a 5-song EP. And they have a kind of companion piece to that called 2020, which is available digitally on their Bandcamp page as well. I highly recommend you pick up both of those. Matt discusses Cheater Slick's Don't Like You. Crazy little garage rock record from a crazy historic band that's been around for a very, very long time and has a huge discography. So if you like Songbirds, you may like Cheater Slicks. If you like Cheater Slicks, you may like Songbirds. So I recommend you check them both out. Listen to some of this music. It's actually really great. If you're watching the video, you are actually watching a clip of, a clip of the video for the song Creeps off of that 7-inch. And we'll provide links to that video as well. Watch that video in its entirety because it's a really great, fun little piece and a great companion to that song. So, without further ado, thank you very much. Do all those things you do with the internet, please. Like, share, subscribe, follow us everywhere on all the social medias and on YouTube especially, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. And rate and review that thing too. Everyone loves that. We all love it. It's great. And enjoy.
Drinks. Go on, Matt Trapp. Drink.
Speaking of which, hi Matt Trapp.
Hi.
Cheers.
Salud.
Here we go. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year.
I asked you here today in this year of 2021 to speak of an album which was a influence on you.
Near and dear to the heart.
Yeah? Okay. So you chose Cheater Slick's Don't Like You.
Yes.
This is your copy of the record, which, just kind of looking at it quickly, because this is my first time really examining it, there's like nothing here. There's like...
It's bare bones, and that speaks of the band and the whole thing there. It's like, it's just what you need. It's minimalist, and it's...
Yeah. This is from
cheap.
In the Red Records.
Yeah.
I'll take a little photo of this later. I also wanted to introduce you. You are currently the drummer for Songbirds. Thank you for this, by the way.
Ah, glad you like it.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Because you do like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. How many songs are on this?
5.
No, I'm kidding, I know the songs. As a matter of fact, you were recently written up in the Cranston Herald by good old Rob Duguay. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I don't know.
I think so.
Duguay? I'm suggesting, not...
So Rob wrote...
Yeah, Rob.
Rob wrote a write-up on you guys for the Cranston Herald. I already read this, but I can't remember precisely at this moment. But it seemed like he was right. He said you guys were releasing 2 EPs this year.
Yeah,
or last year, 2020, technically.
Yeah, I mean, during the absence of band practice, because, there's 4 guys in the band, and we all have seemingly different concerns about COVID.
Right. Right.
But it all boils down to, it doesn't matter what, if any one person doesn't want to practice because they think there's a possibility of getting sick and dying, then we're not practicing. It's kind of like an all or nothing kind of thing. And like we gave up our practice space early on because I was like, when it hit in March or whatever, by April, I was like, everyone's kind of scrambling to pay the rent on this place, and we haven't used it for a few weeks now, and it doesn't look like there's any end in sight. Maybe we should get, and I suggested it to the 3 bands that we were sharing it with. And I was like, should we, I was kind of hesitant to suggest, because it's hard to get a practice space.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you guys think we should get rid of it? And everyone's like, yes. I was like, oh, fuck. And then it was gone. And I was like, oh, man, like in a month from now, am I going to be really regretting this?
Right.
And of course, it's been fucking 10 months. And
I guess it was kind of a good idea.
Yeah. In hindsight, I just hope we can find a place come 2023 when
it's back to normal.
Yeah, normal. Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Back to open.
So actually, I wanted to ask you about that. So you are not originally from Rhode Island. You moved from Illinois?
Yeah. I lived in Champaign, Illinois.
Champaign?
Yeah.
So fancy.
It's an incredibly fancy town.
It lives up to its name.
It's sparkling.
As you drink the sparkling, the champagne of beer.
Yes. Oh, keeps me home.
So when did you move from Champaign?
03.
03.
So I've been here a while.
Yeah, but not too long. 03, wow.
Yes.
I mean...
yeah, it's a while.
It's 17 years almost?
17, 18 years.
Almost 18?
Yeah.
And so what drove you here? Why did you come here in 2003?
A girl.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
She was living here, going to school?
No, we lived in Champaign, and then she wanted to get her master's degree at Boston University, and she had friends that lived in Providence, so she's like, I'll move to Providence and commute because it's way cheaper than Boston.
Right.
And she left, and she's like, I'm going to get her a place, and then you can come out. And that's what I did. I came to Providence. I'd never been here.
And what did you know about Providence moving here?
Nothing.
Oh, yeah?
No, I knew she was here.
You didn't even look into the music scene or anything like that?
No. I was kind of consumed with my own partying and my own band at the time, and like right before I moved here, I went on my the only cross country tour I've ever been on, and I was just kind of partying and having a lot of fun, having a really good time. But I was never one of those people that's like, I gotta get out of this town, man. People got to get out of their hometown because it's crushing them. And I was like, it's a pretty nice town, cool people. But I felt like I should move because I would grow as a person if I got out of my comfort zone of the place I grew up.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad I did. I mean, not like Providence is Shangri-La. Oops, sorry, punch your microphone there.
That's right.
It's not like it's Shangri-La, but I mean, it's got a lot more arts and culture than back home.
So what was music like for you growing up? What was your first kind of introduction to music as a kid?
Well, like everybody my age was MTV. It was like, I had an older cousin that was way into Madonna.
Right.
And I was, listening to the radio. Run DMC seemed cool. And then the first album I bought with my own money was Licensed to Ill.
Okay.
And
when was that?
Grade school. I mean, young.
86-ish?
Whatever the fuck it came out. I don't know.
I don't know when it came out. But
yeah. Early 80s, mid 80s, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So, so 80s are around, you're a young kid, you're listening to Beastie Boys. That was the first record you bought. When do you start getting into the idea of making music?
Oh, not till my mid 20s.
So when's the first instrument you played? Drums?
Drums.
And when did you start playing drums?
I first started playing drums when I was 22 or 3. Because I had this friend, last few years of living in Champaign, I had this friend, Adam Stonehouse. And he was really into all kinds of totally awesome music. And we had very similar tastes, but he knew way more than I did. He was deeper in it than I was. And he was just turning me on to stuff left and right, like the Cheater Slicks. And he was just kind of blowing my mind. every time he introduced a new record to me. And he actually went on. He was in a band called The Hospitals, and they put a record out on In the Red. They put one out on Load Records, and they put one out. I think he put it out himself. And then he started getting like what's the thing that fucks up your ears? The tinnitus.
Tinnitus.
Yeah, he started getting that really bad,
Oh.
and it was like making him nauseous and stuff, like when he was sleeping.
Right.
So he kind of got out of the music stuff, but yeah, he got me into a whole lot of cool music that I didn't know about, and he always wanted to make a band, and I didn't play any instruments, and he was like, "Why don't you learn how to play drums?" He was a drummer, but he also knew how to play guitar. He's like, "Why don't you play drums? It's easy." And I was like, no, it's not my thing. It's not my thing. And then he had this practice space that was like right next to the it was in this building that was right next to like where all the bars and clubs were in Champaign. And I was dating this girl, and like I wanted to impress her. And I was like, Adam, give me the keys to your practice space. Like, we're gonna go fuck around on stuff in there. It'll be cool. And he's like, all right, man, but don't fuck anything up. Like, like they don't even want me there. Like, he was sharing it with a bunch of people.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I totally like wormed my way in. They don't want me in there. And I went in there, and we were fucking totally trashed. And we didn't break anything, but I played this guy's drum set, and apparently I played it hard enough that he came in the next day and was like, what the fuck? Who let these people in here? Adam did. You're out. And he kicked them out. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. And he's like, all right, well, you owe me. You have to play drums now. I was like, okay. And
As soon as you find a new room.
well, we were just doing it in his basement. So anyway, I had to I played with Adam, and that's how I started playing drums. And then I was singing because, it was just the two of us. So it was kind of thin. It was just a two-piece. So I would sing just to add there's only so many tools in the toolkit here.
Right.
So I would sing as well, and that's how I started singing and playing drums. I ended up really liking it. So thanks, Adam.
Cool, man.
And then I started a band called Dead Weight and the Lost Cause with my friend Luke, and then we did like a 2-week tour. It's like the most tour I've ever done. I've consistently been in bands that don't want to tour. That I'm like, this is a great band, we should tour, and everyone's like, nah.
I don't know. You're not really missing much, I guess.
Well, I got. I mean, some of it's just the age and stuff like that. But like, I went on this 2-week tour, and I had it was like one of the best times of my life. I had so much fun.
Yeah. I mean, it can be fun, but it's just not. It's not lucrative. And then,
Oh no, it was some eating peanut butter sandwiches on the side of the highway type shit.
Right.
So, but you imagine doing that, 6, 7, 8, 10 times out of the year.
Yeah.
Like that way.
Yeah.
It's like
It's a young man's game.
it sure is.
Yeah.
And it just grinds you. The few like really great moments in between. Like you find the show where there's like 50 people and they really love it.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes it worth it. But
Oh yeah, we played some fucking awful shows on that tour, and then we played some honestly the best shows I've ever played and the worst shows I ever played, and like I played a show in Bozeman, Montana. It was during the summer, so they have a college, but it was summertime,
yeah.
and it's like straight up one guy showed up,
Yeah.
and he showed up because on the flyer it said Champaign, Illinois, and he was from Champaign, but he had moved away like 20 years ago. And he was like this hippie dude that was really cool to hang out with. He's like, we played for him. And they're like, what do you think? He's like, not my thing at all, man. But he was like, cool. We hung out with him. And, it was fine.
yeah, put you up, all that stuff.
No, we ended up sleeping in the van next to the dumpster after getting stoned with these two 50-year-old hags. Got us more stoned than I've ever been in my life. And then they had this badass Monte Carlo. And after a while, I realized that there was somebody in the back seat. I was like, oh, there's somebody in the back seat of your car. I think he's throwing up. And she's like, oh, that's my boyfriend. He's a skateboarder. I'm like, well, he's throwing up in your car. And they're like, he's beautiful. I'm like, okay.
Even when he's puking?
Yeah, I mean, he was just totally retching in the back of this car. And they're like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, it doesn't matter?
He must be fucking handsome.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to you. It doesn't matter to me. But that's what's happening.
Okay, so then all this stuff happens. You join all these bands, kind of in and out of all these bands. You end up. Well, let's mention
Party Pigs you were in Providence, I know about with Chris and Ziato.
Yeah. Solid dude.
Your keyboard player was in Party Pigs.
Zach.
Zach.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Zach Bryan's. Oh, he's a cool guy.
I'll meet him.
He's from. I mean, I think he was like born outside of Fall River, but like he lived in Boston for a long time. I met him through friends in Boston, and he was in Turpentine Brothers. You know that band?
It sounds familiar, but I don't.
They were phenomenal. It was a fucking fantastic band. Justin Hubbard, Terry McManus.
Wasn't he in the Kings?
Oh, Kings of Nothing. Yeah, he did that. He played like a real piano, and they took it on tour with them, and like set it on fire, and they tricked that fucking thing up fire escapes to get it into buildings. I was like, God, that's a commitment.
On club tours.
Yeah. Like they toured extensively. They toured Europe. They were like a big deal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know that name. I know both of those names. I just don't think I've ever listened to any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'll look into it. But so then also, so he was in Party Pigs with you.
Yeah, he joined after a couple years. It was funny. Chris always called him the new guy, and he'd be like, "Man, I've been in this band for 3 years." He's like, "New guy." Like,
That's Chris for you.
yeah.
So then Party Pigs eventually disband,
Mm-hmm.
and was Black Clouds before or after that?
Black Clouds was before that.
Okay, it was before that because that was with Glenn,
That was with Glenn.
and Glenn is now playing in Songbirds.
Right.
Glenn is amazing.
Yeah.
You seldom ever see him now.
No, I mean he's kind of a homebody, you know.
As we all are now.
He's especially a homebody, but yeah, he's super smart, he's super funny.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Yeah. And so then the only thing to round out the Songbirds is Damien Perini.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how did that how did Songbirds kind of get together?
Well, after Party Pigs broke up, I didn't do anything for a little while, and it's like every single band I've ever been in, when it finally is done, I'm like, am I done? I don't know, maybe I'm done. And then like a little time goes by, and I'm like, I don't know, kind of feeling restless, you know, and start another band, you know, and I mean, I never wanted Black Clouds to break up. That band was like. I thought that band gelled, and I just loved being in that band.
Right.
And then I always liked playing with Glenn, and then Glenn was done for like, you know, he was like, I'm done. And so then I started Party Pigs, and then after Party Pigs was over, I was like, Glenn, you still feel like jamming? Because you're the fucking man, you know.
Right.
And Zach still wanted to play, and I was like, well, we need another element. And Damien, who's been around, you know, I've been seeing him in bands for the entire time I've lived here.
Right.
I was always like, that guy's a phenomenal guitar player, and he's always in these bands where I feel like they're not that great bands, but like he's great.
Right.
And then he started Tall Teenagers, which I thought was a really great band.
Finally.
Yeah, like, finally, this guy fucking started a band I really like, you know? I mean, and some of that's just my personal tastes.
Yeah,
you know, he's been in other bands that have had much greater success, you know, than I have. But, like, it just wasn't my thing. And so he's in Tall Teenagers, and I mentioned that to somebody that, I think I was talking to Shannon or Chelsea or something, and I was like, I'm starting saying Glenn's in, you know, we're going to see what we can do. And he like overheard, he's like, what? You're doing a band with Glenn? Can I get in? Can I get in? And I was like, why do you want to start a band? You're finally in a good band.
Right.
You know, but he just wants to play with everybody all the time.
He just always wants to do something.
Yeah, which is great.
Right.
I love that energy, you know?
For sure.
So we started playing, and I was like, yeah, he's a great guitar player. And this is a great band. So here we are.
It's been 2 years now? The band's been together for 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, one of those.
Because I think, because Damien was in here talking with me with Chelsea as the Tall Teenagers.
Yeah.
And I remember that's the first time I ever heard about Songbirds, because he had mentioned how Chelsea was going to record some stuff for Songbird.
Mm-hmm. And she did.
And that was like 2018, I think.
Yeah, so we had been playing at least a year before that.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, probably like 40 time.
Now it's like...
Time. What is it even?
It doesn't fucking matter.
What does it mean?
Okay, but so you guys have been together for a long time, you're writing some songs.
Yeah.
Eventually, you record with Chelsea, and so that's like what fucking Rob was.
Oh yeah, back to your question. Remember when you asked me a question?
I don't know.
I go on tangents. You have to reel me in, dude. I'll just fucking babble.
Well, because I'm not good at talking either because I keep on kind of like. I have the same problem. My wife and I do this all the time. We're just like we start talking about something and then we're like, oh wait, remember that thing that we were. We finished.
So anyway,
Yeah.
The thing that sparked this journey we went on was
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's getting a lot worse now in quarantine.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I was bad before quarantine. I go on tangents. It's something I've only recently been aware of. I go on tangents and I interrupt like crazy
Okay.
because I'm fucking enthusiastic about whatever it is I'm saying, and I'm just like blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and I like that. I like people's enthusiasm. So you cut me off and you say stuff and just talk, and that's fine by me. I like it. So but yeah, so Chelsea was recording.
Yes.
For the first record, Rob was the fucking guy in the article. He wrote about that record, that EP, which is a 7-song EP. What's it called?
I don't know.
The world is going fucking mad.
The world's gone to fucking hell.
World's going to fucking hell. And
Turned out to be
2020.
very true.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But that came out.
It's always kind of true, though. No. See, like, we recorded a bunch of shit, and we're always in this, like, in this situation where, like, we wanted to record, but, like, I fucking hate recording. I hate, but I like having records. But I found a lot of times I'll just do it. I'll do the fucking job. I'll record, and then nothing comes of it, and it fucking pisses me off because I'm like, I didn't want to do this in the first place, and it ended up being for nothing. But like, I really like just going to the woodshed and just like coming up with new ideas and new shit, and then recording. It's like, like I said, I like having the record. Like I truly like having the record. Like this 7-inch I gave you.
Yeah.
I'm so excited that we have that and we made that. It's great.
It's beautiful.
And like the recording process with that was not terrible because Jared recorded it, and he's the easiest going guy I've ever fucking encountered. So
Yeah, Distorted Forest.
yeah. It just kind of, it was much easier than other experiences.
Yeah.
But we recorded with Chelsea, and we recorded like everything we had pretty much, and then like nobody liked it enough to press wax.
Yeah.
You know, so we're like, I don't really know what to do with this, and we hemmed and hawed about stuff. And then we recorded with Jared, and we, you know, it's like we want to get these 5 songs recorded. Anything else we do is like just extra bonus.
Yeah.
So we ended up recording a bunch of stuff because it just went smoothly. You know, so we took the 5 that we really wanted, we made the record that you just showed, and then the rest of it. We had this bulk of recordings for both Chelsea and Jared, and then with the pandemic going on, we're kind of sitting around, we're not practicing, we're not coming up with new stuff, and it gave me the time. Instead of going to practice, I made the 7-inch happen.
Right.
You know, and like, you know, it went to this place and they fucking lost it, and
Whoa.
and I was like, well, I didn't know they'd lost it. So I'm just trying to be patient. I'm just waiting and waiting.
Right.
Like, you know, like months, like 2 months go by. And I'm like, hey, you know, I don't want to bother anybody, but is this normal? And blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, I don't know. It kind of takes a while. So I call the place and they're like, we never received it. So I call the guy that cut the plates and I'm like, they said they never received it. He's like, I'm on it. And then he wrote me back like 5 minutes later and he's like, it's like, found it. Everything, you know, they just lost it, but they found it, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, man, thanks for getting on the ball. Like, I mean, you know, for my little 7-inch. And he's like, oh, no. That shipment I gave them had a fuckload of stuff in it. If they had lost it, that would be a huge financial loss for me. I was like, oh, okay, so it's not about mine. You know, but whatever.
Hey,
you
got it done.
It worked out. And it's just like, you know, all this bullshit I would never have the time to do if there wasn't a fucking pandemic and I'm stuck at home, you know?
Right.
So,
Okay.
so I made, and during the pandemic, I got that 7-inch made, but Damien also made a Bandcamp page and he put that stuff on there. And he made 2 EPs because it's like 2 different recordings.
Right.
And so like we just kind of had like this music available to the public dump. It's just like there's it.
So you put it all out in 2020.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay. But it was all with the two 5-track EPs were both recorded in 2020. Because I know that the one that Chelsea did was recorded in 2018.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Okay. But so you just kind of so you all dumped it in 2020 just because there was nothing else going on. Why not just put it out?
Yeah. Let's do. It's something. Like it's just something to stay in existence.
Yeah.
As a band.
Right.
You know?
All right. Well, let's get into Cheater Slicks.
Oh yeah.
So the little that I know about Cheater Slicks, because there's not really that much to find out about this record specifically. Okay, so they've been around since like 1987, originated in Boston, Massachusetts, and kind of went through a couple of like band lineups for that.
Very early on.
Yeah, for the first record, basically they had what's his name, Merle Allen.
They had,
From G.G. Allen's brother.
Yeah.
They had him on bass for the first recording, and that was very short-lived. Like,
And they had some dude from like I think the Real Kids.
Yeah.
After that for like a minute.
that sounds right.
But yeah, that's like just the first album.
Yep. And so then basically they kind of did without the bass player, and just kind of kept the two guitars and drums.
Yeah, it's two brothers and like their best friend.
Yes, Tom and
Dave.
Shannon.
Yeah. And then Dana Hatch.
Shana Hatch is the drummer.
Yeah.
Correct. So, but yeah, so kind of garage punk stuff, like, kind of has been known as grease punk.
Ooh, I've never heard that term, but
Yeah, it's all these like weird little like genre.
Yeah.
That genre of like garage rocky,
Yeah.
Billy type stuff. There's a whole bunch of names that kind of died out that never really kind of caught on.
Yeah. I mean, I would just call it garage punk.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're full on like fans of the '60s garage scene, and it's like when I was, like I was saying, my friend Adam Stonehouse, who turned me on to these guys, like he turned me on to the Sonics, the Wailers, like all those like Pacific Northwest badasses in the '60s that were like taking the garage rock thing to like this more manic level, considering the times, you know, and like screaming, you know, like screaming their vocals and like, you know, the solos that were like, you know, they're not playing like they're frantic leads. They're not trying to like perfectly execute it, you know.
Yeah, it's loose. It's totally loose.
Yeah. So I was like getting into that stuff, and then after a while, if you really get into that stuff, I mean, there's just it seems like the '60s is a decade that just you could try to find '60s stuff for the rest of your life, and you'll still find new stuff. That just everybody was in a fucking band. Everybody was, you know.
Yeah. Kind of like now.
That's probably true. But in a good band, I should say.
Okay. That's where they had the leg up.
Yeah.
Well, there was I can't. It's so strange to think that, because it seems like it was so hard to be in a band back then. Like, just, you know, instruments were expensive. Like, they were.
No, I feel like they were cheap.
Well, cost of living was different. You know.
Yeah.
They cost like, you know, $10, $25, $50 or something. But that's from the cost of living. I mean, you're earning how much, like a week?
Well, I mean, it's like, I mean, that's just going into whole economics of America at that time. It's like cars were cheap, houses were cheap. You know, it was a good time to be an American. You know, if you're white. You know,
That's
like,
any time.
Well, it was
Not just that. Speaking from experience, I can tell.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's like.
But yeah, I mean, just the cost of living was much less.
Yeah.
You know, like you could, you know, like people in middle class homes had summer homes. You know, that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, it's so weird.
You know, like you'd have a beach house, and it wasn't like
rich.
there wasn't a sign of wealth. It was just like, oh, you have a job,
Right.
so you could afford a summer home or a beach house. You know, now that's a sign of total wealth.
Total wealth.
Yeah.
God guys are fucking living it up.
So where's your beach house?
Same place that's my winter house.
It's my summer.
It's my all-purpose house. But yeah, so like the Tier 6, when I was getting all that 60s stuff, I was also getting into like the 90s garage kind of punk revival, Oblivions, Gories, Cheater Slicks. That was kind of like my holy trinity at the time. You know, it was just kind of like raw blues punk stuff. And thinking about this conversation we're having, you know, I was just kind of thinking to myself, like, what is it about, you know, because when I was offered this opportunity, and thank you, by the way.
Oh, of course. Thank you.
To come in just like grab a microphone and spill my purse about my favorite fucking album. It's like, you know, it was hard to choose.
Sure.
It was really hard to choose.
It always is hard.
You know, the first thing you said was like, don't choose Funhouse. Everybody chooses Funhouse.
Well, I can't keep on doing that record.
Yeah. No, I totally understand. I'm like, oh yeah, I bet everybody. Yeah, it seems like it's a great fucking record.
I think that's a lot of people's go-to. Like as soon as you ask, they're like, "What about Funhouse?" Be like, "Can't."
Yeah, like the 10th guy that wants Funhouse. So you should be like, so besides Funhouse, what's your next favorite record?
Right.
And it's like, and so I don't know, I went through this like mental voyage where I was like trying to think, you know, like what were the bands I heard at what time and what influence did that have? And it came down to like a few that I had to really choose between. And one, like Ween was one of them that like I heard in high school, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Every song's like another band, you know, like it's just totally bizarre.
Right.
These guys are on all kinds of the right drugs. And that's another thing, when you identify, when you're like, well, at least for me, it's like when you're like doing a bunch of drugs in your teens and 20s and you're hearing music, you're like, oh, these guys do the same drugs I do, you know? And then you hear something else, you're like, those guys are doing different drugs than me. I don't get that. I don't know what they're doing, you know?
Strange.
Like, I don't get rave music. I don't do those drugs.
Yeah, no.
You know, but I bet if I did those drugs, maybe I'd understand it better.
You might like the rave.
You know? But like, so like, it's like Ween was one. Mudhoney definitely was like the first. Was like, you know, pre-Nirvana. It was like the first like grunge band I ever heard, and I was just like, oh, this is awesome. You know, like, and then the next band that like really was like made a huge impact on me was the John Spencer Blues Explosion.
Oh, okay.
I heard that. A friend of mine worked at a record store. I remember he picked me up in his mom's like Astro. You remember the Chevy Astro vans? And he had this 3-song cassette that was like a record store promotional thing.
Yeah.
And it was for Extra Width.
Oh.
And he's like, picked me up and in the car and we're taking off. I'm like, before he even got like out of my driveway, I was like, what the fuck is this? This is amazing. You know, and it's like all the sounds you wanted, but you didn't know you wanted them. You know, I was like, tell me more about this. What is this? What's going on here? And in the garage punk scene, people love John Spencer and fucking hate him. So he's like this really controversial artist in that scene because a lot of people see him as a total fucking hack and real corny.
Right.
And then other people are like, I don't know, man. Fucking sounds awesome to me.
Yeah.
And I belong to the, I don't know, man, sounds fucking awesome to me crew. And that's why this album is great because he produced it.
Yes.
And so it's produced by John Spencer. He's all over the fucking thing. I mean, which is why it's a really interesting album because the Cheer Slicks didn't like this album. Like when it got put out, they're like, this isn't really what we sound like. You know? And John Spencer, there's like a whole song with just John Spencer just kind of like talking over it.
Right.
And I mean, whatever. I think it sounds cool.
Yeah.
I'm down with Camp Spencer, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely something I wanted to mention. So let's go ahead and put on a little bit of the first track, Feel Free. So like you were saying about, you know, this being produced by John Spencer, he's all over it. And have you listened to some of the other records by Cheater Slicks, or is this the only?
Oh yeah, I own like
you own all of them?
Fucking 15 records. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So obviously you know their catalog, you know what
what
they really sound like.
Yeah, and I don't think it's so drastically off that it's like a bad representation. I feel like I think it's their most successful record because John Spencer's name's on it, and I think that, you know, they went from like pretty much total obscurity to being on on a record store in every cool record store in 1995.
Yeah, I've listened to some of them. I've listened to Refried Dreams.
Yeah. It's got that song In This Town. I love that fucking song.
It's a pretty good album, and I think that it sounds completely different from this one.
Yeah. In This Town's this great song. It sounds like you're tripping while you're drunk. Like, like.
Yeah.
I say they do the same drugs as me. What can I say?
There you go. Yeah. That's why you love them so much. So, and then I also listened to your last album.
Yeah, good.
That one's good. I remember reading an article that ended up on the floor over here about they mentioned that record being the one that was the most depressing. So I was just like, oh, I got to listen to that. Those are the drugs that I'm.
Because these are uplifting times, and you can take a little depression. You know?
No, well, first of all, I've been listening to this like for I've been listening to this a lot lately, so I figured I could
you could take it.
I could take the time to change the mood a little bit, and it's not that different. It's just a little like more drony, It's still kind of got the same style. It's still the same style of music. It's just it's a little louder, like it's a beefed up guitars, and it's just a little slower.
Yeah,
that's kind of pretty much it. I guess the lyrical content's a little dismal, but. Yeah. I don't really listen to words for the most part.
And then I found out about the Cheer Slicks, and it's like, this is something not that I could play these songs right now, but I could fathom playing these songs this good. Their singing isn't that great. Like they don't have good voices.
No.
But they're genuine.
Yeah.
They're like real deal. There's some songs where I'm like, I fucking applaud the bravery of this dude. He's just like, belting out these songs, like holding notes that are
not holding notes.
Well,
smearing notes.
Okay, he's holding a sound.
Yeah.
He's not just like barking words.
Right.
He's like trying to sing.
Yeah.
And
it's that putting like overextending yourself.
Yeah.
Singing wise.
It's so raw. It's so fucking raw.
Like he cracks a couple of places, and it's just and they just leave it because it's just that's just how he's going to do it.
Yeah, and even when he does it well, it's still shit.
So let's get into the next song. There's a girl. All right. That's a good song. That's a fun song for sure.
Was somebody knocking?
No, it's this fucking thing, man.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm telling you, it's the worst. So there's a girl. Absolutely fucking fun song.
It's got these great guitar like sounds like Dave Shannon is the lead guitar player, I would say. He does the solos. He doesn't sing, and the guy's fucking awesome. He's a really good guitar player, and I think between John Spencer and Cheer Slicks, it must have formed my I don't ever need to play with a bass player. I mean, like I saw him a bunch of times when I lived in Illinois. I went to Chicago and saw him a bunch of times.
Okay.
And I was like, during like the Matador years. When they were
mid to late 90s?
Yeah, like when they Extra Width, Orange.
Yeah.
And like, that they were fantastic shows. They played great. And then like I saw him at the German Music Hall and I was like, or German, it's not a music hall, German private.
It's something like the German beer. It's like the German beer club, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, in Pawtucket.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Weird ass place.
Yeah. They have
this semi-residential neighborhood.
Yeah. They have this awesome Bavarian backdrop painted on the back of the stage. It's the coolest. It's the coolest fucking backdrop I've seen. But anyway, they played, and didn't miss a fucking beat. It was amazing. And they played Greyhound, which is this instrumental that I always really liked, but they don't play it live. It's an instrumental.
Yeah.
But they played it that night, and then later on, I saw Judah Bauer walking around. I was like, hey man, great show. Oh thanks. I was like, you guys played Greyhound, and I've always loved that song, and I've seen you guys play a bunch of times, never seen that before, and just thanks for playing it. He's like, oh yeah, see, I wrote that on when I was taking a bunch of heroin. So I was like, oh, is that the trick? I hear that stuff's great for writing songs. He's like, it is. My suggestion is you do a bunch of heroin, just don't get addicted. I was like, there's the rub. He's like, there's the rub. I was like, okay, thanks, Judah Bauer. Thanks for your advice.
So when did you get into heroin?
I'm lazy. I haven't gotten into it yet. But there's time.
I've done it once.
Really?
Done it once.
What was it like?
it was like you can do no wrong.
Yeah?
I think we smoked it.
Smoked it?
Yeah. I was with this
Didn't know
girl.
it was an option.
I was with this girl who had a habit, and I didn't know it.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't dating her. We were friends, but we were like hanging out.
Uh-huh.
And got taken to this weird place, like right off Broadway.
Never happens in a normal place.
It was a fucking strange ass place.
Yeah.
So she went there to score, and so we kind of like got high while we were there. So I was just like, yeah, okay, sure. And like I think they were smoking it or something. Yeah.
Like you thought you were smoking weed, but
No. I knew what we were doing. It's like,
I'm fully aware.
yeah. I was just like, okay, all right, fine, fuck it, let's try it.
Yeah.
And that was the only one time, and that was basically because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a hankering afterwards anyway, but I.
Well, that's not how addiction works. It's like,
Because I think the stipulation or the mindset is that if you do it once, you're going to get hooked and you're going to want to do it again. It's kind of like crack, where if you do crack, it's just like you immediately want that high again.
I think it's all about the availability to you too.
That's a huge thing for me. It's like if it's not available to me, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Like I don't go seeking it out.
Right.
I've done coke too, but it's like I've only done it out of like convenience.
Well, if somebody put a gun to my head and was like, "You better do some heroin right now," I'd be like, I'm already getting heroin. Like,
Put it in
trigger, dude. I don't know. Like,
put it in front of me and I'll do it. But I mean, I'm
not going out looking for shit.
I don't know who to ask.
It's late.
It's one of those things.
It's late. I gotta work tomorrow.
I'm gonna ask someone. Like, who am I gonna ask?
I'm gonna ask my most scumbag friend. Like, I'll just,
Like you know somebody, right? Like, I'm not saying you carry. I'm just saying you know somebody.
Yeah.
So that was it. So what happened was there was like some weird shitty piano in this place that we were at, and of course I was just like, I gotta write a song. I gotta play a song.
Yeah, you're on heroin.
And they're all like sitting behind me. These few people, 3-4 people, and they're all just like mesmerized by what I'm doing.
Yeah, because you're a god.
Amazing, I can do this. And I don't know how to play piano.
It's one of those things. You take off the rose tinted glasses, and it's like plink plonk, plink plonk. I suck. Boom dong.
Guy walks in, just like, what are you guys fucking looking at?
What are you doing to that piano? Stop it.
It's like that's way out of tune.
It's missing strings.
Seriously, it really was. It was like this dilapidated thing. It was like falling apart. So that's basically what. Yeah, that's probably what Judas
Genius.
talking about.
Pure genius.
You can't go wrong. Just like you. I don't know. Take it till you make it until it actually does become something that actually works. I don't know. All these guys on heroin that write music is just like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it again. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
No. I don't have time for that shit. I can't even fucking. I can barely get stoned these days.
Yeah. I can get stoned, but I have to call the person and go get the thing.
I gotta be home with my kids. What are you fucking?
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah, your kids are old enough to be like, "Are you stoned?"
I think my son called me.
Oh, really?
Like, Dad, why are your eyes red? It's just like they've been really itchy. I don't know. I think I've got like
I got double pink eye.
something like that. Yeah.
I've been rubbing a lot of shit in my eyes.
It's like I got something in my eye. I've just been rubbing at it like all day. Let's skip on to Motherload.
Okay. I mean, just this album and like the band itself was just, like I said, it seemed not only obtainable, but like something to. It's like I could strive for this and obtain it, and I don't want to, like be a Cheers Licks cover band. Mm. But it's like if I just play a little bit better than I'm playing, like I could sound as awesome as this.
Right.
Because this band sounds fucking awesome to me, and like it sounds fun.
Oh yeah.
And like it sounds real. Like it doesn't sound like, all right, this is take 27. It's like this is take maybe 3, and we're fucking cutting it. It's right. Like it's not like it's my favorite album of all time. It's like a different question. It's like because I was telling you, like, I'm having trouble deciding. You're like, just narrow it down to the band that influenced you.
Right.
And it's like there's just no fucking doubt. It was the first band I thought of when you asked me about this. It was like, oh, Cheers Licks. And it's like all right, I'm just going to do what influenced me. That's kind of interesting. I mean,
Well,
I don't know who wants to listen to it.
It makes sense.
Who wants to listen to me talk about it? But
No, but that's the thing. Is just like okay, so what I've realized about kind of having this show is that this is more of like a psychology, like a psychological exploration into the musician and why they create what they create. So the question is, when did you get exposed to Cheater Slicks?
Probably like 96.
So it was
97.
when this record came out in 95.
Yeah. So I didn't hit the ground running with it. Somebody showed it to me.
Right.
And it was probably 90, 96, 97, something
96,
like that.
97, so you're like 21, 22?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
And this is like right at the time that you're starting to play the drums.
Yeah.
So you're listening to this and you're like, I can do this. This is something that I can aspire towards, because just like you were saying, these guys aren't polished musicians.
Yeah.
This is something that I know I can do, like, even if I don't practice too much. Like from this point
it's
where I'm just
feasible.
starting.
This is, like I said,
An
it's
obtainable
obtainable.
goal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's not like it's an obtainable goal and then I should get better than that. It's like, I've been playing drums for a while now,
Right.
and I don't think I'm any better. You know what I mean? It's like I got to a point where I'm like, this is what I wanted to do.
This is what you're doing.
This is what I want to do.
Right.
And it's like I'm sure if I really hunkered down and like tried, I could be as good as the dude in Mini Beast.
No.
But it's like that's
No, you can't.
well, yeah. Just theoretically, I could.
Yeah. No,
But I'm not going to, because
you don't want to.
because I'm also doing other. It's not my passion to become a great drummer.
No, you want to do
it's
some like punk rock and roll shit, and that's what this is, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
You're doing exactly what you want to do. So
Correct.
that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a perfect example of like music that influenced you and kind of like informed your art.
Yeah. Another thing that happened during a pandemic that like I probably wouldn't have had time to do, but it's like instead of going to band practice, I'm going to go to Tracy's house and we're going to film this thing, and everyone was super fucking cool and it made it happen and it was fun and easy.
Yeah, and it's a great video.
It's a fun video.
Really well, and like it's edited great. Like it's just a fun thing to watch.
Yeah.
To that song, especially because the song covers this this story of like creepy guys, right?
Yeah. Honestly, you talk to any fucking chick they're gonna have a story that completely.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I know that story. A guy calls from the past. It's like, hey, how you been? Been a long time. You're like, oh, hey, that's nice. I haven't, talked to you in fucking 10 years. How's things going? Show me your tits. It's like, wait, how the fuck did we get here?
Right.
Fucking creeps.
Yeah. Well, we all have our stories, don't we?
I hope so. Or else,
We're all
or else
men,
we're boring.
and men are fucking creeps.
Fucking so gross.
All right, so here's the story. All right, so I was going to ask you, do you have a story of being a creep?
Oh.
Okay, I'm sure you do.
Why are you so sure of it?
You're a man. You're a fucking man. Of course you do. I don't want you to be incriminating, but I'll share you my story.
No,
First.
I'm pretty open with that kind of stuff.
I'll share a story with you first, just to show you how creepy fucking guys are.
Okay.
All right, so I'm a mail carrier. I deliver mail, so I walk around neighborhoods.
Creep carrier.
Yeah, I'm a creep carrier. I'm fucking like jerking off on fucking with my one free hand. I'm like, no, not even that.
Might as well be doing something.
No, it actually wasn't me being a creep. It was a guy being a creep to me.
Oh.
So
well, you are handsome. I can see how this could go wrong.
Yeah, all right, fucking sure. But so I cover routes for people on their days off.
Yeah.
So I'm on a different route almost every day. So I'm on this girl's route. This young girl. She's not young. She's probably about my age, but she's small. She's petite. She's cute. She's like, and so I go do her route, and like I keep on noticing this guy show up in a red truck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know this red truck. I see it all the time. And he pulls up to me as I'm walking down the street. It's just like rolls down his window. Is just like, hey, can I give you my mail? And I'm like, yeah, of course, sure, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can take that, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps on finding me. I do this route once a week, not every day. once a week. Keeps on finding.
Is it always the same day of the week?
No, it's a different day of the week.
Oh.
Yeah, even worse.
Yeah.
He finds me.
This is like
He finds me on a dead end road.
Ooh.
I'm on like a dead end road. Like there's no out to this road. So there's no reason to go down this road unless there's something you need down this road. He comes to find me to give me mail.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, this is not the first time. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
why don't you just hit a mail can, man?
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, I just always like to give it to a carrier, you know. And it's just like, and you know,
Does he get out of the truck?
and you know, you're a lot better looking than a mail can.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, cool. Like,
well, maybe you should just be flattered and stop acting so stuck up.
no,
about
I'm flattered, but at the same time, it's fucking creepy, right?
it. Yeah.
It's like, why would you go out of your way to find a mail
Yeah.
carrier when you can just deposit in a can or leave it in your fucking mailbox?
Yeah. There's the whole mailbox thing.
All right, so now tell me
a-
your story. What,
Well, I mean, in regards to that, I have a story about people being creepy to me.
okay, sure.
But okay, I went to see. You know the band The Gossip?
Yes.
Okay. I love that band. I thought they were super fucking awesome.
Yep.
They really changed their style at some point, and
Mhm.
I kind of lost my interest. But for years, I thought they were a fucking legit band. And that chick can fucking sing like a maniac.
Mhm.
Beth Ditto, I think her name is.
I don't know them, like, I don't know the members, but I know the
Yeah.
band. I know the
Yeah, I think her name's Beth Ditto, or her stage name or whatever. But anyway, so I'm at the Middle East upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
and I go there, and she's gay. The Beth Ditto is, so it's like she has a large following of the gay community, and so there's like a ton of girls there, and I don't know, but it seems just from gauging the room that it's kind of a gay crowd. I don't care, whatever, and I'm sitting there, and like for the first time ever in my life, I'm like, wow, I'm like the chick at the punk rock show, and there's like girls kind of like sizing me up left and right, and not like in a
Like I want to fuck you way.
yeah,
Like,
but and not in a
fuck to you.
and no, not in like I want to fight you, but I don't know, like just straight up like I'm meat.
Mm.
And since I have the luxury of being a man, I'm like whatever, like I don't care,
Right.
like I'm not scared or
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
like that,
yeah.
it's like whatever. But I was just like, oh, this is kind of weird. This is kind of a different thing. And there's this couple that was next to me, and they're like looking at me and making little marks and jokes, and like I can't really hear exactly what they're saying, but it's very clear they're talking about me. Yeah, again, whatever. Band's awesome. This is all good. And then and one of them looks over her shoulder at me, and then she reaches behind and she grabs my fucking
Junk?
Yeah, she grabs my junk, and she goes, and this is the strangest things. I don't know I don't know what this means in the gay community. Like it seemed like a confliction of thoughts, and she said, "It's time to breed," and I was
Whoa.
like, "What?" Like, it was and then they laughed, and I was like, "I don't even get that joke.
Wow.
I don't know what that means.
That's much more profound.
I don't feel assaulted, but I mean, whatever. What do I give a fuck? Grab my dick. What do I care?
Yeah.
But I mean, I understand if you were a woman in a crowd full of men and someone reached over and grabbed your fucking crotch, like that's assault.
course.
That's a
Right.
big deal. But since again,
Unless you're the president.
of course, yeah. Like I have the luxury of being a man and like
And a secure male, of course.
and I'm not worried about I didn't feel for my safety or anything,
Right.
But I was just like, oh, weird. What a reversal of roles and
Yeah.
whatever. Just like, so that's like the creepiest thing that's ever happened to me, and even that's like more weird than creepy.
Yeah. Well, see, that goes actually along with the lines with the story that I was telling, because I actually went to the girl that does the route the next day.
Oh yeah.
And I told her the story, and I was just like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you deal with this shit all the fucking time. Like, now I get it.
She's like, never happened to me.
No, well, it didn't happen to her with this guy, because obviously this guy's fucking gay, but...
Yeah.
But the women go through that all the fucking time with dudes. Like like even in this song, it's like there's that line where you're saying something about like getting the dick pics sent to you, like 100 dick pics a day.
Oh, yeah, here come the dick pics by the ton. Say, show your tits, won't that be fun?
Yeah.
I mean, well, that song was totally written. I was talking to an old friend of mine, and she was just telling me about like she had talked to a guy that we knew. I've known this girl since middle school, and like she was talking to me about, hey, you remember so and so? I was like, oh yeah. She's like, yeah, he just fucking sent me a dick pic out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere?
And I was like, what? And like, I know that guy. And I was like, what? He did what? And she's like, yeah. I mean, like
show me. Show me.
She's like, she's like married and shit. She's like, what the fuck do I do with this?
Yeah.
And I was like, fucking
Well, he's hoping you'll jerk off to it.
creeps. I don't know. Like, dudes are creeps. I don't know.
Right.
I'm no better than them. I guess I'm just smoother than them. I don't know.
You know your boundaries. That's the thing. Is this
Yeah. There's a line.
Yes.
There's a line.
Do not cross this line.
Yeah. I don't like making people uncomfortable, and I feel like there's a lot of the population that really enjoys making people uncomfortable.
I think people are oblivious. I think the people
That's kind. That's kind of you to say.
No, I think they know in the backs of their minds that it's wrong, but I think that they are like a little bit too motivated by impulse to really to think it through and to derail themselves and say like, I shouldn't do that.
At best, they think it's like charming and funny.
I don't know, charming and funny. I think that's their excuse.
Possibly.
I think when it doesn't fall right, if it doesn't work, I was trying to be funny. That was supposed to be cute.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's the excuse.
Yeah.
But in
Well, like I said,
reality-
at best.
right.
At best.
No. But at best, it's their excuse. Like so, like they know what they're doing. Their reaction, like their actions should, like they shouldn't be doing it. You know, like there's a certain way to talk to a woman as a male, as a heterosexual male, that you should not do. Like it's not going to go well. And if it does go well, okay, it worked out in your favor. It's like that. It's like that fucking Saturday Night Live fucking sketch, like where Michael Jackson and then Liberace are talking about like hooking up with women.
I don't know the sketch.
No, okay,
No.
you gotta find it. It's fucking Eddie Murphy as fucking Michael Jackson, and I think it's Billy Crystal as Liberace, and they're talking about like hooking up with women, and they're like the most like kind of like awkwardly like gay men, like pop stars. It's like that. There's that random moment where you like just you just gotta go up to the girl and say like I want to jump your bones. It's just like. And
Well,
like,
it's a lot of guys.
the time that it works is like so satisfying.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys just play the odds.
Right.
They're like, if 9 girls slap me and 1 girl sucks my dick, then I fucking win.
I won. Yeah.
It's like just cast a net.
You cast your net wide enough.
Yeah.
You'll succeed eventually. All right. Well, you know how the fucking song goes. I know.
Awesome.
I know how it goes too.
Awesome.
I just have to remind myself. Okay.
Awesome. Fucking awesome.
Under better circumstances, I would fucking be able to play that and hear it perfectly.